Bring up the money, name recognition, or certain nomination of any Republican presidential candidate, and someone will almost instantly compare them to Scott Walker. The Wisconsin governor appeared a near guaranteed victor in the 2016 presidential race. He had money, swing state bona fides, and of course, tons of cable news appearances. He entered the race July 13th, 2015, and was out by the end of September. So far, people have compared Ron DeSantis, among others, in the nearly dozen Republicans running to Walker. To be fair, not necessarily in a good way, but the comparison has been made. There you go. Governor Walker's kind enough to join us now. And look, even in 2020, there were Democrats who were compared to sort of Scott Walker, who had all of these things. I'm fascinated by your diagnosis and advice now to the field that we now have almost a dozen candidates.
Yeah, the big thing I took away from my unfortunate early departure, although I joke, I got out before I got a nickname, so maybe that was a good thing. But the truth be told, what I learned was that big ideas trump a bold record, that no matter how great your record is, that just gets you on the national stage. You've got to be equally, if not bolder, when you talk about what you're going to do for the nation. That was our mistake. People loved what we did in Wisconsin. They loved the fact that we took on the big government union bosses and won, that we put forward some of the most conservative, common sense legislation in the country. That was great to get people's attention, but they wanted equally as bold of an agenda going forward. And that's my lesson learned, and what I'm trying to convey to others who are going to be on this stage coming up in just a few months in Milwaukee. Be bold and then go sell it to the voters.
When you think about that and you apply that lesson in reverse to 2016, the person who was the most bold, right, is Donald Trump, who said everything, he said the quiet part out loud, said what everybody was thinking, that all the consultants said, no, you can never say that. Right. I look at the list of candidates right now, and it's a growing list. We've almost got a traveling basketball team, soon perhaps to have a college-level baseball team of GOP candidates once again. And obviously, Trump is on there as well right now. Is there anybody, though, that you see following that advice with bold, clear ideas, not about the past, but about the future?
Well, just this week, I love that Senator Tim Scott went on The View. I mean, I think that's a bold move. The fact is that to win in a state like Wisconsin, to win in Michigan or Pennsylvania or now Arizona or Georgia, you've got to have a plan. It can't just be you're against Joe Biden. You've got to have a plan. We saw that last November in the midterm elections. It wasn't enough just to be against Joe Biden. So I give credit to Tim Scott just for what he did on The View this week. He particularly talked about funding students over systems and giving parents a choice. I think there are others who are going to step up and do the same thing. But I'd say resist the temptation. There's all sorts of political consultants that run campaigns out of Washington. They'll tell people to play it safe, to look presidential. Right. In the end, voters are hungry for leadership. They saw it, whether you agree with them or not, they saw it out of Donald Trump in 2016. And my advice would be true for him as well. His record was great, what he accomplished, but he needs to lay out a plan, as do the others, if they're going to be the nominee and ultimately the next president.
Yeah, it's interesting you say, and you talked about Wisconsin, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Georgia, all these swing states that a Republican is going to have to win. You perhaps fell victim to this very issue, that what was going to work in the general election, which was your playbook, didn't really work in Iowa, and perhaps not even in New Hampshire as well. Is there a point to be made for Republicans that they need to perhaps start thinking like Democrats, that if they're going to nominate somebody who can win in a general election, they have to change the way they nominate their candidates?
Well, I think the key is, and this I learned from many election, winning 3 times in the blue, not slightly purple state of Wisconsin, is I was moderate in tone, but not in action. I think a lot of times people see in talk radio and cable news and some outlets, they want people angry, bursting out, ready to just own the opposition. And the fact of the matter is, most voters that you need to win in a swing state like mine, they're not conservative, they're not liberal, they're just living their life. And they want to hear someone talk common sense. Now, the flip side of it is that doesn't mean you nominate a squishy moderate either, because that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for bold leadership. They just want someone who talks like they're sitting in their living room, someone they can relate to, understand. And I think that's where the bold plan can trump bold personalities.
Bold words.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Exactly. Governor, it's good to see you, sir. As always, we appreciate it. Enjoy a beautiful Thursday evening in Wisconsin without the smoke of the Canadian wildfires, all right?
Yes, I'll be out in the lake next.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.